In high school, I had this friend. We'll call him Keith because that's his name. He was one that didn't care for being slighted or feeling like he was mistreated or any type of injustice. He really took those things personally and loved to strike back if he felt any type of injustice. I can tell you a few instances. There was one specific one where he had to pay some fee for dropping out of some after school extracurricular UIL program. And they told him he owed them $5 or $10 or something. And he was so petty that he went and got that in pennies and brought them a big bag of pennies and dumped it on a desk. Uh, but there was one time that I always remember. We were in science class. I don't remember. It may have been chemistry or physics. It doesn't really matter. We had a student teacher in that class, and we were taking a test. And this was the nerd class with all the nerd kids that really wanted to do good on their grades. And the girls in that class, they'd always raise their hand and be like, "Can you tell me about this question? Can you tell me what it means? Can you tell me what the answer is?" And that student teacher really bought into that. And it was a lady student teacher, so there wasn't anything going on. So my pal Keith, he raised his hand during this test, and he said, "Hey, I'd like to clarify this question here." And she walked over to his desk and looked at the question and looked at him in the eyes and said, "I have confidence in your ability to interpret that question." And then walked away. And so I've known Keith for some years at that point, and I saw his body light on fire. And I knew that it was coming back. It was going to come back around to her. So it might have been the next day or a couple days later. She was grading those tests, and we look up, and she's got this very concerned look on her face. So Keith had written on the back of his test a long treatise on the fair treatment of people in the classroom, regardless of gender and regardless of status. And I don't know what all it said, but I'm sure, knowing him, it was very brutal. Like I said, she looked very concerned and looked over at him in the classroom. And she said, "Keith, what does this mean?" So Keith, looking very confident in himself, he stood up and he looked at her right in the eyes and he said, "I have confidence in your ability to interpret what that means."